the Clippers are not panicking. And to a man, they're saying, it's fine. We just got to make more shots or not have the Mavs shoot as good. Shouldn't there be panic? Wouldn't you be absolutely beside yourself? It's not like you're so good, you're like, oh, we can just flip a switch. You should have panicked last year when you were up 3-1 and you lost the first game, which 3-2 guys were going to their place for one game from forcing a Game 7. You should have panicked at halftime of Game 7. You should have continued to panic throughout the regular season when your game was not coming together like you drawn it up on paper. And if you're Kawhi Leonard, you're like, guys, this isn't as good as it was in San Antonio or Toronto. But I mean, this is, to me, it's a Clippers team that lacks significant leadership as far as, maybe people are just happy to be going through the motions, are happy to be living in Los Angeles, don't want to rock the boat anymore. I don't know what exactly is going on there, but I don't see an edge. I don't see the personality that they brought to the table last year. I think it's a team in decline. And sometimes this is what I was worried about with the Mavericks late in the season. So far, they've been able to remedy that, I believe, by putting Porzingis in the corner. I think that was their chemistry fix. When Porzingis was out, hurt, they were like, hey, this actually kind of works. Let's stop trying to insist on Porzingis touching the ball a bunch of times and just play our normal basketball. And now I think they have refound their chemistry, and the Clippers are on the other side of it with guys that, for whatever reason, just don't fit together. Jared Sandler joined us at the top of the hour, and he's a baseball insider, but he knows a writer that he went to college with that is now still in L.A. and covering the Clippers. And the writer said, oh, yeah, they're detached, they're fragmented. Nobody likes Kawhi Leonard because he's kind of off doing his own thing and he has his own set of rules. And maybe that's just what it is. And I think friendship in sports is overrated, but at the same time, if you don't have it, it can be dangerous. Sometimes your dudes are so, professional, it doesn't matter. I got my thing, he has his. But at other times, you need some form of chemistry. And if it's not happening on the court and in the locker room, it can fester and the product can begin to deteriorate. And I believe that's where we are right now, Jeff, with these Clips. Evidenced by the fact that they can't call it out for what it is.
That part is interesting to me because, a part of me, when you say that, especially in Game 2, is I almost feel like that's taking away credit from the Mavericks that they deserve, where, Clippers got beat by a better team in Game 2. Right now, they're down 2-0 to a team playing the way that they have that's just better than them. And it's because the Mavericks are shooting the damn lights out. And I wonder, because I don't know the Clippers coaching staff, right? We know the head coach. We know Lou. I don't know who their Jamal Mosley is, which is the Mavericks' top assistant defensive coordinator. But based on what they're saying, which who knows? You're at the end of a game and you're going to say, I think, whatever you think your team needs or wants to hear, whatever you think is going to leave us sort of in the best mental space. But with the Clippers in real life, if you don't realize the consequences when you lose this game and this series in 4 or 5 or 6 games, whichever one happens, and I think they're on track to, Tyronn Lue is probably a one-and-done coach. You're probably out. I don't think you can bring the same team back because it's 2 years in a row with 2 superstar players that you decided to build around that you've been incredibly disappointed. Kawhi, by all accounts, wants to be in LA, but he ain't going to the Lakers, so he probably sticks around, which means you're probably trading Paul George. The idea that the head coach was up there, if he really believes it, where it's like, oh, everything's fine. They got to keep shooting like that. It's a lot easier to shoot on the road. It's about to get really tough for the Mavericks. There should be an element of freak out because you are on the doorstep of the head coach being fired and one of your 2 superstars, I believe, being shipped out of town. You're not bringing back the same team if you lose to the Mavs in 5 after losing to the Nuggets the year before. You're supposed to be a championship team. Yeah. So there's a lot happening in Clipperland.
That to me shows it's not worth fighting for them. They're just checking off we're here, and it's going to be time to go home before too long. Paul George asked how much concern is there. There is none. It's a competition, and we got to rise to the occasion. The fact of the matter is, if we don't, we're done. There is no level of concern. There's no level of concern. Your season could be over. You're down 2-0. You just lost twice at home. We just got to play our game. We got to play through this. We got to incorporate our defense. Luka is going to get his touches. We just got to do a better job defensively. quieting everyone else. And yeah, that goes to, is it worth fighting for? I mean, when Luka got the super easy buckets on Beverly in the fourth quarter, it's like the Mavs are on the ropes. You didn't give Beverly any hope. Nobody said, Luka owns Pat Beverly. I better slide over here to give him a little bit of cover. They're like, let's just let Luka run him right down to the rim and bank one in off the glass. And then like 2 possessions later, there was another Porzingis dunk along the baseline.
Yeah, but I do think that part of that challenge is it doesn't look like there's a right answer for them defensively right now. Like I can help, but I can't help off Timmy.
Yeah.
And in that game, you couldn't help off KP. So it's interesting because, yeah, they've been bad defensively, and the Mavs deserve tons of credit for that. But it is also like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Does your coaching staff, do you know when you're supposed to switch? Do you guys have a plan defensively?
I feel like where I missed the boat on this team or the series, the Clippers tried to avoid the Lakers.
Yeah, they weren't even looking at their first round matchup.
That's something that you needed to know. That their plans all along for how they've handled the playoffs so far have been flawed. You know, their team, they feel like, oh well, we could just roll the ball out there. We're better than the Mavs, and there's a bunch of people telling them they were better.
Yeah,
we've even talked about it. We went player for player. Oh, well, the Clippers, that kind of thing. But in reality, the more mentally tough, the tougher team in this series has been the Mavs. And it goes back to even how the Clippers approached the playoffs. The Mavs were fighting their rear off, and they're like, hey, we're going to go in there. We're going to give it our best shot. They're probably a better team, but you know what? Every time we've played them pretty well. Where the Clippers are thinking, well, they didn't think the Mavericks had played them as well. They should have been thinking about the Lakers. They shouldn't have been thinking about the Mavs.
Yeah.
I mean, they were, to me, their approach all along has been flawed. And whether it's from their front office, their coach, but they're thinking right now, don't worry, that those teams that do the flip the switch thing never works.
No.
Never works. I've been a part of teams where it's like, no, we're okay. No, we're not, guys. No, we're not.
Yeah, we're in big trouble here.
We're in trouble. And don't act like we could just flip this. We've seen it with the Cowboys. How many times has it been like the Cowboys are in that little run where it's like they're 6-4 and everything's going to be okay. We're going to flip the switch.
Can't win every game.
Yeah, and then they're 6-6.
Yeah.
And you're going, okay.
They do say that.
Yeah.